The Dalai Lama's own website maintains that he is the manifestation of the Bodhisattva of compassion, Avalokiteshvara, the rightful leader of Tibet, independent of China's recognition or influence. On the other hand, the Chinese Communist Party calls the current Dalai Lama a disloyal aberration in a long line of patriotic Dalai Lamas loyal to the central government. The Dalai Lama has always been a complex figure intimately connected to not only the religious and spiritual guidance of Tibet, but also one deeply involved in the geopolitical affairs of Asia. The two sides, which are now so opposed to each other, did once exist in a sort of symbiotic relationship that we will explore as we discuss the origins of this controversial office. Tibetan Buddhism enjoyed popularity under Mongol patronage in the Yuan. However, by the time of the Han-ruled Ming dynasty, a shift in official policy under the Yongle Emperor meant relative non-intervention towards Tibetan affairs. This vacuum led to a dramatic shift in Tibetan power dynamics. Power went from secular politics and clan wealth to the hands of religious groups instead. Around this time, the Gelug sect of Tibetan Buddhism was founded by the monk Tsongkhapa and began to compete with other sects for patrons, novices, and religious dominance in the region. In fact, many of the Gelug monasteries were positioned strategically in order to gain the attention and patronage of wealthy aristocratic clans, such as the Pagmodru family. The Gelug sect tried to differentiate itself through features such as a focus on expanding monastic community with emphasis on celibacy. When the sect later introduced the idea of incarnation, celibacy meant that the religious hierarch's estate would be left whole and intact for the office, rather than be distributed to sons. In 1432, the powerful Pagmodru clan began to experience an internal succession crisis, and members of the Gelug rival sect, Kagyu Karma, was able to snatch some positions of influence. The rivalry increased fiercely, and the Gelug adopted incarnation in order to compete with them. Despite Buddhism's image as a peaceful religion, in fact, Tibetan monasteries of different sects often attacked and conquered each other at this time. Gelug was vulnerable and needed a new, more stable patron. This patronage came in the form of Altan Khan, leader of the Oirat Mongols who, despite having been pushed back into the steppe by the Ming, continued to be a powerful force in Asia. In June 1578, Sonam Gyatso visited Altan Khan, who conferred upon him the title of Dalai Lama. And more importantly for the Tibetans, he gave them the economic support of the Mongols in exchange for religious legitimation of his rule. Sonam Gyatso would award this title posthumously to the two Gelug hierarchs who came before him, and he became the third Dalai Lama. The Gelug Tibetans and the Oirat Mongols thus became intertwined through the institution of the Dalai Lama. Ultimately, through Mongol patronage and military victories, the Gelug sect became Tibet's religious monopoly and effective rulers. With few other Buddhist options to turn to, the Gelug sect was also able to enjoy the support of the Ming emperors, and later that of the Manchu court during the Qing, which became further involved with the Dalai Lama's selection, which remained the status quo until it was shattered with the revolution. So, it is clear that although the Dalai Lama is most simply defined as a religious office, its origins and subsequent history are deeply rooted in political conflict and strategy.